Well, way back in the 1930s, when Alan Lomax helped Leadbelly to get started in New York, he found himself singing for schools, and he was singing children's songs. And Moses Asch told me that the first man he recorded was Hughie Ledbetter, better known as Leadbelly. It happened like this. In early 1939, his father said, his father was a famous Yiddish novelist, Sholem Asch. And his father said, "Mo, you've bought a recording machine. Will it fit in the trunk of my car?" And Mo says, "I think so. Why?" "We've got to drive to Princeton, New Jersey, and record a very short 2 or 3 minute message from Dr. Einstein urging American Jews not to waste a minute to help their relatives get out of Germany now." So they drove to Princeton, they recorded the short message, and over supper, Dr. Einstein says, "Well, young Mr. Asch, are you a writer like your father?" "Oh, no," says Mo, "I make a living installing public address systems in hotels. But I've made enough to buy this recording machine, and I'm fascinated with what it can do. I've met a Negro folk singer in New York named Leadbelly, and nobody's recording him because they say he's not commercial. You have to go to the Library of Congress to hear his records. But I think they should be on sale in stores." Einstein says, "You're absolutely right. Americans don't appreciate their own culture. It'll be a Polish Jew like you who will do the job." But I know that the informality that Moses Asch had in his company was a help. It wasn't as though there's some faceless person behind a piece of glass saying, "Do that over again, make it faster." Moses Asch was a very friendly person, very grouchy at times, gruff. It was a two-man company for most of 40 years. He and Marion Distler both worked like horses. And in a tiny little studio and tiny little office, they ran the company. He also never spent one penny on advertising. He went around to conventions, convention of the American Library Association, the Music Educators National Conference, the American Anthropological Association, and he'd rent a table, spread out some records, and teachers or people attending the convention would walk by and say, "My, I didn't know records like this were available." And pretty soon their name and address was on Moses Asch's mailing list. And every year they get a new catalog. And the numbers of new records, he must have made a new record every couple of weeks. I was told the standard way he would put out a record, suppose he got a phone call. "I'm Professor so-and-so, and I just returned from northern Afghanistan with some recordings. My students keep wanting to listen to them, but I haven't time to make copies. Would you be interested in putting out a recording?" And Mo Asch says, "I'll call you back." He would then check with an anthropologist, Harold Kurlander, who might say, "Oh, he's very well known in his field. Whatever he sends you will be authentic." So now Mo calls him back. He says, "I'm glad to say I would like to put out your record, but here are my standard arrangements I make with everybody. You must give me 20 minutes for one side of the LP and 20 minutes for the other side, 2 pieces of tape, and leave so many seconds between the songs or whatever, so people know where to put the needle down in what band. And you must send me 5 or 10 pages of information about the music, telling what it means, perhaps translations of some of the songs, and I hope pictures. And I will give you $100, and that will be all the money you will ever get from me. But I can promise you that as long as I'm alive, and I hope afterwards, your record will never go out of print." Well, the professor's delighted. "Oh, yes, you stay in print. Wonderful." So a month later, Mo has a new record out, Religious Music of Northern Afghanistan, something like that. And it sells 5 copies a year.